I'm going to take you guys into Power Hour. I'll see everybody momentarily at the big desk. See y'all tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel.
Be Obie the rest of the week, guys. I hope everyone has a fantastic one. Yeah.
Guys, wish Joey, okay, before we can pause for a second. So your boy Joey Options is going under the knife tomorrow. Tell him what you're doing, Joey.
We're getting the ACL and the good old meniscus repaired.
There you go.
On the right knee there. So
it's going to be a 9-month recovery. So your boy is going to need a lot of love, a lot of prayers. Throw up ones for your boy Joey Options. We hope you kill it. You're going to absolutely do fine, brother, and you're going to come back
I'll be good.
Even better.
Yeah, even faster.
A Joey Options 2.0.
2.0.
Hurting everybody on the ice.
No, we don't want to do that, man. We don't want to cause any injury.
All right, guys, take care.
See ya.
Yeah, that's right. Joe's going to get that work. We're all pretty confident about it. And Obie will step right in just as usual. We're back and locked and loaded. Oh, shoot, I can't see the... I was about to tell you what the 550,000 count was, but the screen that I stare at in the production doesn't tell me how far we are away because it's now got some other stuff on it. Well, I think either way, we're probably getting to that 550. Last time I looked, we were getting pretty close, but I don't know what the number exactly is going to be. We do have the potential of the president moving things around a little bit this afternoon. Pretty disappointing if you were expecting kind of a big move out of Ford with that tour that he's doing. That has been an absolute nothing burger so far. The market, however, was headed right back down into the lows of the day as we speak. So it's been a relatively weak day unless you're looking at a couple of chip names out there. Yeah, not looking too terribly good for the market. Ford, complete and utter nothing burger. That said, keep your ear to the ground. You never really know. Maybe something comes of this one in the afternoon. We'll see. I'm in the other way in that EVTV. Well, it was long before, but now it's kind of breaking the trend. So I'm kind of giving it to this 465-ish. It's a couple of pennies above that. And looking for retracement back into the $4 level in SMR off of VWAP. And looking for SoFi to lose the volume-weighted average price. I was long this earlier, but I'm kind of thinking breakdown on this stock. SoFi kind of was catching some strays. Obviously, JP Morgan with I don't want to say a bad day, but it's only down like 3 or 4%.
All right, what's up, everybody? Yeah, man, I mean, we're just sitting here trading. We flipped everything short, but look at this Intel trade, man. I mean, this was, and I got to say congratulations to Obie. You're going to hear, and I know you hear it from the midday, you hear from us there. It's all about congratulating our traders, right? And so we're going to congratulate, I know Obie had this long, Intel, we had this long today. So congratulations to everybody that had that, man. This was the trade of the day. This is back-to-back days. Intel was one of the sweetest setups and one of the sweetest trades. I actually got out today as some on my account as well, so happy with that. And then we flipped over to into the short of Nvidia, underneath. Let's see if Nvidia can go. And then, you know, we chased Tesla. Tesla was quite a mover, man. And then eventually we got all out right there. We tried the long at the low of the day as well. So shout out to Juan Padilla there in the chat, noticing that I flipped short. Tried the long and then flipped short. So here we go, man. Let's see what this market wants to do. The market right now is at day's low. We'll see if we can break through 25,800 or so. But here we go to the downside, man. Again, we're, you know, we have one red name. Well, we actually will wind up being red on the futures. And then this ARM trade, which is crazy that I'm red on this, but the 110 now $3. But there it goes down there to the downside. So we're having a pretty good day today. We'll be green, and we'll look to add on to that as right now Tesla 50 cents in the money and Nvidia 75 cents in the money on these shorts. So we're both short here and looking forward to Brian Shannon today. We'll talk to him. If there's any questions you guys have for him, we'll get into that. And then, yeah, man, the traders are here now, so.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see so Brian's take. The start of the year has been, I'd say, like an incredibly mixed bag. Like almost nothing is staying correlated. The Mag 7 aren't correlated to each other. Within the chip space, you're seeing a lack of correlation inside some of the names. Some themes that were looking pretty good have continued, like that memory space. But we'll see. Like, I'm very curious, technically speaking, for things like silver, for things like crypto or Bitcoin. I shouldn't say crypto. Things like Bitcoin. What Brian's take is going to be. We'll get him in just about an hour or so. Some people saying Tesla wants 440, and smoked tuna that XAIR, that was the other small cap runner. I feel like the difference between EVTV and XAIR right now, what is the name of this? It doesn't really matter what the name is. XAIR here, a little bit more choppy. Whereas I find like they're both done really good volume, like hundreds of millions, couple 100 million shares here. Like this just has more distinct like levels and gaps that it can put in. EVTV, I'm not saying trade one of the over the other, but this XAIR, very, very choppy in terms of a small capper, not very clean, outside of this one little trend break. So I'm gonna prefer to look at EVTV this afternoon if I'm looking at a small capper, that's for sure. And let us know what names you guys are watching as well. We're not always going to cover exactly everything that is moving, but we're going to venture to do our absolute best. And the only other trade I've got on is going to be SMR at the volume weighted average price. I actually tried to add to this, haven't done so yet, looking for the low of the day. The nuclear names might not be moving much, but they look like they're, well, this one looks like it's rolling over. Givino was probably fine, some of the bigger ones, but you basically tagged the 50 period here, and then we've had a couple of red days. I just feel like this is headed back in to the downside, and we've got a super chat. Nick Vendy, you know what? I think this is the first time I've seen that name. So thank you for joining in, Nick Vendy. We've got $2 Canadian. Hey, quickly let us know where you are. We're here in Toronto, Canada. It's not very sunny here, but then isn't usually in the winter. Let us know where you are. Amazon today just seems like we're headed back into 235. I don't know any other way to put it. This has been pretty clean in terms of buying support. Basically, we've rejected $250 today. You have a weak market, so it could be catching a little bit of strays. This was having a pretty solid run, but nothing too crazy there for Amazon. You put this up next to, like if I put this up next to like a Google chart, obviously it hasn't been doing much, but it does favorably compared to like say the Metas and the Apples recently. So I think it's just a little bit of a technical pullback. You broke out from 235 before. Maybe we'll dip back in. It'll be key to see if it can hold a higher low that isn't all the way underneath 220 to 225 for Amazon's sake. Earnings are going to matter this year, no questions asked, but you'd like to at least show some signs of strength going into earnings. Like I'd be more concerned, like I'm not as concerned about Amazon as you should be about like a Meta where it's trending down going into those earnings. Like a little pullback's not a big deal there.
Yeah, I mean, we warned everybody yesterday about the pullback in JP Morgan and talked about, if you're long, you might want to think about trimming some of that position, and that's exactly what wound up happening. So we'll say that was a good idea. So yeah, I think trimming anything if you have a huge win ahead of earnings is the smart thing to do. So, I mean, boom, there goes JP Morgan back down to the downside. I know it's a pick, Joe's pick, and I love JP Morgan. It's my largest bank holding. So, actually, SoFi might have taken that over. I'll have to double check. But JP Morgan right now, nice little trend, but going lower. And this is not a great sign considering that we have bank earnings all throughout the week. So we'll see if the rest of them can hold forth. There Citigroup's at astronomical valuations for itself as well. So that's now down 1.2+%. And then Goldman, which is kind of, if I were to pick one yesterday, I might have picked Goldman for the year, but I do like JPM, and I think Goldman is a good one there with the investment bank talk, the mergers and acquisitions and everything like that. So we'll wait to see what Goldman looks like heading into the new year, which we're in right now. We'll talk to Brian maybe about some of those as well. Short Nvidia, short Tesla, and over to the desk now with Sharif, and we'll go through your rundown.
Welcome to the Afternoon Rundown, everyone, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. The big boys are ready to go. They're locked, they're loaded, and they're ready to look at the tickers as decided by you. But the only way to get the tickers on the Afternoon Rundown is to get into the chat and vote every day for your favorite tickers. You got to throw in that $sign, though, followed by the ticker of your choice. Let's look at all four major averages, and all but one are negative despite going green midday. The Qs are down 0.45, much like the SPY, down 0.4. The Dow, faring the worst of the bunch, down 0.75%. And as I mentioned, the IWM Russell 2000 up marginally 0.04. The first name as decided by you guys, TSLA, down almost 1% now after being green most of the day. Tesla did release a 7-seater Model Y in the U.S. as improved China sales for the Model Y 6-seater version there continues to do well. Why not bring it over here? Not a needle mover today, boys. Tesla down 0.9.
Thanks, Sharif. Yeah, look, I mean, I'm in Tesla. Tesla's going to be a decent stock. I mean, we flipped it over right now. The problem is we got caught just like we did on Google, and then we were able to get green yesterday, where it just kept on bleeding downside until eventually it caught a bid. And we didn't even base this bid on anything other than the fact that we had a downside wick there. We had just hopefully saw some kind of capitulated bottom there with volume. And then I just said, let's see if it holds 445, honestly. Like, this drop down $6 or $7 hurt, and then it was great. And then we've been trying, okay, so we're about to get stopped out if this breaks 445.50, but right now, just seeing if this wants to get a little lower. Again, worse than the Nasdaq here, down 0.8. Doesn't seem like it wants to do much today near these lows, but I still really like the stock. Obviously, we like it for robotics. Here it goes. So we're going to get stopped out at 50s. Really small hit, right? 50 cents on this one. But I like Tesla. I think it's going to continue to move. We have Trump talking now. We have a whole bunch of stuff going on right here, even in the space. I mean, there it is. We talked about, it's funny how Nvidia is not moving at all, and Tesla's the one whipping around. Took a little bit of profit down there and then got stopped out again right there. So, you know, a great name to trade, but a violent one. I really, really enjoy trading this. Tesla, once again, right there, just bouncing around. I think it's destined to get back to all-time highs here. Just think you need an upgrade or something really to kick it off, and similarly to an Intel, right? Like, imagine this: Intel's up 7% today. If this name goes up 7% tomorrow, then you'll be at 480. So, you know, like, you're getting close to this name, but it is starting to pick up here off the bottom. But yeah, I really do like Tesla moving forward. So Tesla, a good pick for this year, I would think, and a good pick for day trading.
Yeah, it's interesting. Not many people picked Tesla yesterday in our picks. That said, let me ask you this, everybody. If you were handed $1.25 million to trade, would your process change or just your upside? That's the opportunity Funded Futures Network provides. They're a futures prop firm that gives traders access to large sim and live funded accounts every day. They've already paid millions to traders around the world with fast same-day and daily payouts. And right now, evaluation accounts are 50% off. Buy one, get one free with no activation fees. You can find the link below or scan the QR code in front of you right now to check it out. I feel like Tesla just has not been, it hasn't been as, like, here, you made the point about Intel and like the 7% days. Like, Intel has 3 days like this in the last 3, like Intel, where you're getting almost, you know, over 5%, close to 10% type of moves on Intel. Tesla has not been doing that. So it's still a very good trading vehicle. Its volume notionally is obviously going to be ridiculously good. It's a $400 stock, right? So all things relative. But as bad or as maybe not as good as it looks today, we've had that 3-day rally. Remember, we had one green day after we failed 500. We've had 3 in a row, and we're still likely to close above the 50-period moving average. So I think there's still a little something there for Tesla, despite this little bit of a pullback type of day. We did have, before we go back to Sharif, we did have a super chat right off the bat that I know we missed, and this was the one from JKL. What you are watching is under the hood with the VIX and proxies that are ripping, while gold and silver at the highs. Trade carefully, so volatility is coming back. It's not a very large move, and the VIX has been going up all day, but we're still chilling at like 16, like 15 to 16. If you look at it from daily's good enough. If you just look at it from the daily, like even just the lower high where we spent most of last year as resistance, that's like 18. So you'd still have a ways to go before we get to any levels where you'd consider a breakout in volatility. At least another 10% to go there. But worth watching, right, as this starts to creep up. We've had these massive spikes before from this price area, and we're starting to creep back into it on said VIX. And of course, we've all seen what's going on in gold and silver. Let's see what the next name on the list is. Sharif?
Yeah, before we get to that, Neil, President Trump speaking, as you guys know, making comments. He's specifically talking about oil, saying he's going to get oil prices further down. Also taking the opportunity to speak about Fed Chair Powell, saying typically on good news, rates go down. He's obviously taking the shots here, as he typically does, against Jerome Powell. Let's go on to Nvidia. The first story that we had initially was that Nvidia wouldn't require upfront payment from Chinese buyers of the H200. That was speculated here to shift the risk of some of these products not being allowed into China to the customer as opposed to Nvidia. Nvidia saying that was not the case. Separately, midday, we got this headline coming from the information that China is restricting the import of H200s for specific reasons, such as R&D, university R&D, or on a very limited basis, which is signaling a harder stance on reopening the market to Nvidia in China, formerly 20% of their revenue.
And obviously they've taken a bit of a hit because they're not getting that revenue. That said, stock had been doing much, much better earlier on in the day. Just going to point out like a bit of a phenomenon. Let's use a 15 here. That one's no good. The phenomenon that's happening technically in Nvidia seems pretty obvious. Like almost every single breakout, all right, this 15 is not going to load further. You don't need to see any more than just this month. Just start from January 2nd, even the 31st, it's the same thing. Every time we have a strong up move in Nvidia, there's only one day where you don't have an absolute complete reversal or capitulation. And that was yesterday, and yesterday it dropped like $3 at the close. But even that didn't count because it didn't have enough time, like the market closed before it could get any worse with Nvidia. Every single pop is getting faded on this stock, even when you've got like clear support at $184. So that's a pattern that just needs to change. I feel like you're gonna be able to see it change when you just look at the charts here with NVDA. So yeah, you got 184 support. Hopefully we don't lose that in here today. I don't want to say you're putting this one into the penalty box, but sheesh, it looked just like Meta was looking when it was hugging the 50 period in the wrong direction, where it just cannot seem to bounce here. You've got a lot of sellers that seemingly are in control. Maybe NVIDIA just needs to wipe it a little bit out so the buying can resume. Because right now, as I said, there's other chip names. Everyone wants to be in the memory space and not them. Or else RCX or like even ASML. Like there's plenty of other names in the chip land that are doing just fine on the charts.
Look, the number one P&L name today is going to be Nvidia, and you know we just started shorting it just right now. So I think that's right, man. And then there's going to be other plays here, but underneath VWAP, we shorted it, we hit it. Goes to the downside there with Nvidia. And we also just put on a new trade here with Tesla. We shorted 446. I've already covered half of this thing, man, because our out's 446.50. So we waited for it to get to the 50-period moving average. Then I was going to use this 50. So we already just got 50 cents right there. It actually went down into the 30s here on a crack lower. My best out is 53. We actually got 65s and 53s. So that's all. Now we got out of half. Actually, a little less than half because I actually thought I got the 40s, but I didn't. So we'll see if it breaks back down below right now. Tesla continuously sliding right now. So here goes Tesla. Let's wait to see if this is the one or not. See if it can get us back through that 445. But yeah, NVIDIA just today is not its day, I don't think. It had a huge move up there into 188. Now we're just underneath everything. So let's see if we can support a short. Looks like it's trying to get back to the upside. We've covered a lot of this trade already. Like I said, it's a big P&L name here for me. So we'll wait to see if it continues to work out. But it's Tesla and NVIDIA both looking short right now for me. Let's go back over to the desk.
Guys, let's talk about AMD. Today it was Citigroup, KeyBank Capital, upgrading AMD and Intel to overweight. Really, the crux of the reason, guys, was CPU servers. The demand is through the roof through hyperscalers. The rating agency saying both companies are likely sold out of all their CPU servers through in the entire of 2026. Also, specifically to Intel, they're liking a lot more of the 18A node, which saying they've reached over 60% yields on some of the wafers there. So AMD here, guys, up almost 6.8%.
Wow, 60% yields. Anyways, Intel doesn't ever want to talk about yields lately, that's for sure. But AMD, this is one where, yeah, we always talk about the whole notion of, well, I feel like I'm going to sell because I think it's getting a little frothy up there. And you have to decide, like, what, if anything, are you going to buy back and where? And if AMD decides that this 200 is the bounce on the triple bottom, then the opportunity got missed to buy the dip if you were a seller up there. And I feel that way. I felt this was going lower. I said this last year. Starting to possibly change the mind here. It has been blasting off. And when you see it the third time, I know it looks obvious, but when you see the downtrend here, I saw the 50-period hold, the second rejection here, I kind of thought we were breaking 200 and pulling back. Just a little bit deeper on the move in AMD. Instead, we're right back into the 225. I would look at the 225 this afternoon and these tops as a little bit of an issue. Like it was such a rejection the last time, and we have gone right to this lower high and had a bit of a pullback. So if we get a head and shoulders, let me get this trend line out of the way because it didn't really do much off of that trend except hold it. If we get a head and shoulders look, like there's head, shoulder, shoulder, and then we pull back and break this trend, then I think you could have a pullback this afternoon just because it's done so much off of this top. That 225. I mean, it stands out. It's a 50-period on the daily as well. So if we come into that, reject, put a head and shoulders, break the trend line, I'd look short, but kind of a missed opportunity to buy the dip. I'm wishing I had bought some at 220 after selling some at the top, but that's how it is. Like the chart looks weak. Like sometimes it looks weak and like ARM where it continues weak, and I think I will get my bid. And then sometimes it's like AMD. It bounces and you're kind of stuck. And if you sold, maybe you have to buy back a little bit higher if that is your intent.
You can get 220 tomorrow, I think, on that one. Yeah, so Intel. I mean, Intel, the #1 stock. Obie crushed it. I crushed it. Good trade there. $45 long on Intel. We put it out there at 8 a.m. It's just leading the way here, Intel. It was the #1 stock for me yesterday. Today, Nvidia will take that over. But Intel, we have the low of the day, literally. Came right into the 200-period moving average. My best out is 47.50, but great outs. Like if we had just, I said earlier, man, we almost got 45.20s, which is what we were waiting for. We had to wind up getting 45.30s and whatever, but we were 2 pennies away from getting that fill. Should have been maybe a little more aggressive, but whatever. Sometimes the gods are with you and sometimes they are not. But again, a monster play there for Intel. Just play the momentum. That's all that my sticky note said there. We had it written down. You got to follow what you're doing, and we did that today with Intel, and it's a big one. So just followed our rules, hit the trade, was confident in it. Nothing more important than share size, so we hit it there with Intel. We have the idea. We put on the risk. As Neil Redman, when you get more capital, you put on more risk. That's exactly what we did here with Intel, and pay dirt right there for INTC. Sharif. One more. Is this 4 or 5 now? All right, let's go. Let's go over and see what we got to talk about.
EVTV, guys. This one we brought to you yesterday. We're bringing you again today. Second day play up another 73% today from yesterday's breakout low. We're up 917% in 2 days on this headline that the shares are trading higher after a company called Azio AI, which Envirotech had signed a letter of intent with, announced they received a $107 million contract. I showed you guys the cars that these Envirotech vehicles make. They're these sort of vans that look like the Sprinter van, but of course electric.
Did you say the Splinter van?
Sprinter
vans.
I'm like, what?
Kind of looks like Splinter van.
Yeah, the thing about EVTV is, like yesterday, you would have thought that it was pretty impressive late in the session, but so in this chart, I just want to quickly show you, like, this is the close here. Like this stock did more in about 20 minutes after market than it essentially had done the entire afternoon session. So for anyone, who happens to be trading this or looking in the afternoon, I don't know if it'll be the same thing, but it was explosive. Like it went $1.30 or so from like $2 to $3 to almost $3.50. And that's just right away in the aftermarket. I don't even have it charted past 442. Like maybe it did more, wasn't really paying attention. It's still looking pretty solid. It did double tap and then do a bit of head and shoulders and break this trend to get me into a short. And if I didn't have a rule about not trying to get caught in down halts, I might have done better with the long off of VWAP. But it rinsed the top. And the thing about stocks like this, it doesn't take much for it to very, very quickly move like a 10 or 15% and then get you in a halt. So when it approaches the high, I'm throwing trailing stops in there because you can have a break-even stop, but once it's like 70 pennies away in a $3 stock, your stop is going to be below a halt band. So it always, in my opinion, it always has to move up. And sometimes, like, you'll get this press, and then you'll get wicked out and never really got back in. But I'm looking for a $4 retrace, not a VWAP one here. My stop is just above about 60, as I was saying before, and then I'm looking for the $4 level here on EVTV. This is a bit of a repeat offender. Like, it's done reverse split, tank, it's done breakout and parabolic, and then tank. This is looking more productive than before, but that doesn't necessarily mean you couldn't just have an offering that gets dropped on you overnight, tomorrow morning, any moment. So make sure you bank your profits. But been a good one. Great volume as well here on EVTV.
Just quickly, Dollar Club Plus on Tesla right now as we get to go a little bit lower and get to have some fun here with TSLA. Really printing a lot right now. So we're going to put another bid here at 78. There it goes. We grab that one. As Tesla, nice move downside. We waited for the 50-period moving average. So that's it again. All right, Sharif, one more, my guy.
Guys, President Trump making comments here. He's being asked about the tariff challenge at the Supreme Court. He says, quote, "We'll figure something out if we don't win the tariff case," making accusations that those bringing the tariff challenges are pro-China. Last on the list here is silver, SLV, up 3% after gapping up yesterday quite aggressively from Friday's close on the headline that Fed Chair Powell reports that he's received a subpoena for the $2.5 billion build out of the new Fed building in Washington. A criminal investigation is being launched by the Department of Justice, which had the effect of pushing these precious metals higher yesterday, running again another 3% today.
Yeah, silver. One of the biggest surprises yesterday was that no one picked silver. Actually, that's not true. Fabian might have.
He did.
Yeah, Fabian, maybe not. He didn't pick like SLV, but he did pick a silver name. But there wasn't that much love for the metals. And I'll be mad at myself for two things. One, the first time flipping short on silver was a good long early. We were able to catch it sort of breaking out after 9:30. Like, there's a pre-market high. It was a pretty clean breakout. And then we went for the short here, and we get wicked out, but I didn't get back in. And that's sort of the idea. Like, if the price area that you like, hang on a second. If the price area that you like gives you that little just topping tail wick, and then immediately that trend break is still valid, and it's that long of a trend break, then I want to be jumping back into the trade 9 times out of 10, unless something, maybe there's like news or something that would get you away from taking it a second time. In this case, I didn't. So it kind of is what it is. And then a couple of flat trades going into a long. I do think VWAP here in the afternoon is usually an idea that I like. However, because it's in a pretty strong uptrend going into it, it would need to break said trend. Oh, and EVTV just tagged the $4 level, so I said I was going to be out if it tagged that prior high. So we just quickly jump out of it. Sometimes you get that trend break and it's going to work. Sometimes you get it and it doesn't. You just have to trade your style, right? At the end of the day, you just want to repeat a process that's going to try to get you positive over a long period of time. But part of that process is when you're waiting for a trend break like this, because this is 8:30, and then again, like this is 8:30, 9:30. It's an hour-long trend in the pre-market that gets broken. It's worth taking that the second time through and actually, not letting yourself get wicked out of it. And that's part of the thing. If you could only trade, say, once or twice, and say you're in your PDT or something, then probably going to want to give a tighter stop. When you can trade as many times as you want, you can go tight stop and just wait for that trend break to look good again, and then just take it the second time through. So SLV, still good. Obviously, it's making fresh highs almost every single day. The breakout is ongoing. It's a bit of a squeeze as well. Everyone keeps saying it's going to be a monumental short. That's possible. But you know what? That's what we were saying about, I don't know. That's what I was saying about SNDK as well. And that sucker hasn't been a short in a while. How are you supposed to time that kind of a thing? You might as well ride the wave until it happens.
I found
Thanks, Farm Trader.
I found this note there. There it is, man. Neil, beautiful trade. So good job there.
That's the silver.
Neil, we like that one. So that's a good one there. It's always nice to be able to congratulate each other. So congratulations, Neil, on a good trade. Okay, we are, we're still in the club with Tesla. So we'll wait to see if that one can get a little lower. We did cover some at 444.75. We'll see if that one can get going as well. So something to think about there for TSLA. All right, so that's something. You know, you guys, we do have something out here that's called our stock visualizer. And then we also have this, man. This is real cool. This is our updated rate here stats, and it's all live too. It shows all the positions that we had from yesterday. We've got Obie with circle short, BW, a long, Citus space short, as well, Adara, Boeing, Brendan, Fabian, everybody right here, right now. And for now, we have Neil and myself in the red, and in the green, we've got Obie, we've got Adara, we've got Brendo, and we've got Fabian. So right here, this is real cool, man. This is going to be awesome to keep on paying attention to. Everybody had 10 grand. We put a third into all of our picks. We did that yesterday. That was a heck of a lot of fun. Our best show of all time, and we want to thank everybody for watching that. And our second best show of all time will be tomorrow. And then our next best will be after that. And every day we keep on planning on getting bigger and better as we continue to go. So yeah, thanks everybody for all the support there yesterday. It was a heck of a lot of fun. And it was great to see Fabian and Ramin get involved with their picks as well. All right, I, you know, trade pretty aggressive and with bigger size. So I'll pretty much always have, like, Obie crushed it today with Intel, but all the biggest losers and the biggest winners pretty much every day. And today, TQs will be my biggest loser there today as it broke lower. Thinking we could have switched short there, but glad we didn't. That was a huge move in the middle of the day, all the way back to the upside, crushed through VWAP, didn't even think about holding it, ripped through, did a little dance there at VWAP. That could have been the reload short right there, back down to the downside. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening there with the TQQs. But so far, so good. Did we get to 550K? I don't know.
We don't.
Dane Generous, I don't see it.
Can we see that?
Maybe if Ramin could put that thing up right over there, we can get it going. We have 549 zeros right now. Okay, so we have 549,000. So just hit, if, you know, right now it's about 20% of you don't subscribe. So we have 4,000 or whatever watching now. So basically, if a couple of you do it, then we hit that goal. So just hit it right now, and you won't have to ask, and we'll get it. So that'll be a good one. Thank you so much for doing that. What I wanted to get at before was, before I looked at that, I wanted to also get to the stock visualizer, because this is something else, again, that Fabian has built for us. We wouldn't be able to be as successful as we are if we don't have, you know, trader or back end talent like we do with Fabian and Andre and Ramin. But okay, so Google, I just want to see what everyone was looking at right here. This is that XAIR. I heard Sharif looking at that a little bit as well. So that's a name. There's RCAT for those of you, up 12% right now. Tesla going upside there as well. That looks like that's going to get a lot of subscribers interested today as well. Meta down 2.5%. Interesting name. We'll see what happens near that, near $6. Intel, oh boy, we talked about that one. That's a floss off. Right there for Intel today. Rich Tech Robotics, a name that Joe almost took yesterday, and I should have took Google probably, up 1.4%. Nice to see SoFi battling back there today as well, only up 0.5, but better than it was earlier as it got hit on JP Morgan downside action there. And then AMD, wow, as we were just saying right there, don't lament not getting your 220 bid. You're probably going to get it.
No. I meant like well under 200.
No. I thought you said that you wish you had sort of bought some back there. I thought you had.
Oh,
said.
at 200.
Oh, at 200. Okay, yeah.
Look, I was thinking the 200 period moving average.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
why,
yeah.
But
yeah, I'm long $70 or something.
Stocks don't look. I had actually not bought AMD in years.
Yeah, exactly same. Yeah.
To be honest, I actually think the last time I had bought AMD was certainly pre-COVID. I'd have to go back and look, but it's just not a chip name that I had been buying. Like I think more, like I bought ARM more recently, and then obviously Nvidia and Intel more recently, and ASML to name a few. Although ASML, there's the back of my mind, and maybe it's because my dad worked at Nortel, and the Chinese ended up catching them in technology, air quotes, corporate espionage, and then that signaled a little bit of a downfall for them. I don't think that's going to happen with ASML in particular, but you do have them chasing. You do have China chasing because everyone needs ASML's ASML's machines to make it work. And at some point, when the technology gets caught, they will lose some market share. Like, it can't just do this forever. And I think there's going to be some pivots. But this has been a fantastic stock. This is another one in the chip space that you're like, okay, like you don't have to be in Nvidia all the time. Like there's these guys. There's Lamb. Lamb's an absolute rocket ship today as well. Yeah, Bitcoin. If Bitcoin gets to 94K, I just also want to say before Bitcoin 94K, that has been a spot the last little bit. And last week, I know last week this is where I said short, because here's your daily on IBIT. It's about 54. This is a 94,000 level, and we are getting there. Didn't think there was a reason why Bitcoin would be this strong, but I'd look for a reversion up here on BTC, that's for sure.
It's, we are 39 away. So we are 39 away right now. So there it is. Yeah, so you got it on screen right now. Thank you, Andre, for that one. So hit the like and the subscribe as we get ready and locked and loaded to have Brian Shannon. Actually, I should check if he's messaged me today, but no. So he's locked and loaded, hopefully, to come through here today. So get ready for that. I'm going to get at another piece. We just bounced again off the club, and I don't know if Tesla wants to stay in here or not. It might have other ideas. It might have other clubs it wants to go to or whatnot. But for right now, it's having a hard time dealing with more than $1 right there. But we already got out once down here. It looks like 444.60s or so. So let's put a bid down there. Let's put one into the 70s, or let's go 80. Let's go low 80s. We'll put out another bid there, see if we can get touched out down there if it does come back in for us on Tesla. And then here we go, man. We told you, man, the #1 name here. Nvidia now enters the building with a downside push here for NVDA. So yeah, man, getting near those lows one more time for Nvidia. I mean, we could wait to see what happens at 184. We only dipped down below it one time right into there, into the 80s is as low as we went here on Nvidia. So yeah, I heard what you guys are saying about Intel trying to break trend. I don't know, man. It's too bad. We literally have the low of the day on Nvidia, so that one's the face slapper. But we dropped it, and I don't know. I don't know how else to do these things. But we broke the 50 period there, so we got some more out. Maybe we could have waited until that and got the majority out right there. Probably would have done better. But at the end of the day, it's a great, huge move there for Intel back there to the upside. So hopefully some of you are able to catch some of that with me and Obie. JP Morgan, you're going to see Obie all day the next couple days as Joe gets surgery. So we hope that he feels better and doesn't suffer the same fate as Miney. JP Morgan down 4% right here. Like, again, a good call, a bad call, good quarter, I'm guessing. Like, when we came in today, it was flat, and then we had mentioned yesterday selling some. So if you guys were long JP Morgan, hopefully you're able to do something like that. And then also right now, I don't know what was said at the call. I don't know if Adara has sort of color on that, but definitely downside here for JP Morgan. And they didn't like whatever he was throwing out. So yes, Adara.
There's actually nothing bad here at the call. The one thing that I've said that was negative that I mentioned earlier today that was from the report itself, investment banking fees down about 5% year over year. I mean, during the call, they said they're seeing roughly $95 billion of net interest income for 2026. That's a good thing. Apparently, there were also some deals pushed to 2026, which is actually why those investment banking fees were down. So even the one negative part of the report was given a positive spin during the call. So there's really nothing here to explain that drop.
Okay, so there you go. I mean, that's why I was interested in Goldman Sachs too, was the investment banking fees and incomes and all that.
In October earnings
wait, man.
For JPM last year, like it dipped that day, recovered the day after, and then kind of plunged a few days after that before battling back nicely. So it's not like it was a one-day event. Like it really did sort of backslide. Like it closed higher. That's the difference today. Today it's actually not going to close back, filling in some of this gap. Because this is the earnings day here on October 14th, and it backslid for a week.
So it didn't go. It only went to 290. That 280 is not right, but it still did go down.
I have bad wicks, but it held here. I don't know that we get all the way back down, but I do think you might have to wait a little bit here on JPM. At least wait till the other banks. We're going to get Citi, we'll get Wells. I mean, we get them all. We get mostly all of them this week, and then you get some regionals later on. But you're going to have to wait for these guys to settle down because it's not always about whether they say good or bad things. Price has a mind of its own. Ultimately, this is one where I kind of feel like it's a matter of when the best ones bounce and when the others don't. I heard you say Goldman Sachs. I might like slightly prefer Morgan Stanley, but that's probably just because I've owned them and haven't owned Goldman, if I'm being real. It's just they're priced about the same. I think they're both like 18 or 19 PEs. Their charts are going to be very similar. It's really more about the IPO market that's picking up this year. Well, we should be getting some big ones. We're looking at you, Elon. That'll be a big one to snag. And then obviously you get a lot more deal making this year. Just look at all these biofarms just picking each other up the last couple of weeks. I think you're going to see more of that, especially starting this quarter. So some of these names could do a little bit better, like the Stanleys and the Goldmans. That said, this is also down 2%. Everything's giving you a pullback. If a bank ain't pulling back today, then it's got to be a really, really good one. That is certainly for sure. By the way, I know we're going to have Brian coming through. If you guys have questions for Brian Shannon, make sure you hold them and don't be afraid to throw into the chat and ask them. And if you're wondering, what is this chat that you're talking about? Well, it's YouTube, so there's always a chat, but it's a subs-only chat. So if you haven't subscribed to the chat or to the channel, make sure you do so now. Hey, we can get to 550K, but more importantly, you can ask questions, you can converse with a fantastic community, you can ask questions of Brian, myself, Sean, anybody that's going to be around here. And so Danker's saying a RICO case is coming for JP Morgan, and Matt's been talking back and forth with me about Intel. Well, not Intel, Nortel. So they mentioned my dad worked there. A lot of shenanigans that happened. Nortel's kind of one of those cases where, a lot of business schools would have a lot of case studies on some of the failing top Canadian companies. Nortel was an example of one. It was kind of ugly how they went under. And then, of course, they've had movies already about BlackBerry. But I don't necessarily, when I said about how China is caught up to Nortel and could catch up to ASML, some of the rumors were legitimately out there. Like, it's not a new thing. Like, I remember my dad complaining about how the prime minister, I forget who was the prime minister at the time, wasn't doing enough to prevent corporate espionage, and that was a concern. So these themes that we talk about now with regards to China and geopolitics, they've been around for quite some time. It's not just the USA. I mean, it happened here to one of our biggest. I shouldn't say one of our biggest. It was literally our biggest and most successful company. And they were slow to react, and there were some also self-inflicted errors as well. But certainly, it's always been a bit of a concern. Let's see what else you guys were looking at. I see MREO, not familiar with it. I don't see EVTV doing much of anything for me now because we're out of that. What's this small capper? Ooh, it's a penny stock. Underneath $1 with less than 50 million in volume. Movement's good. What the heck did this do yesterday? Yikes, you don't want to see that. Like, it's right at where it dumped yesterday. That would be a bit of a pass for me. On lower volume than the day before, on lower volume into the highs, MREO is going to be a bit of a pass. That EVTV has also slowed down in volume, but it bounced off $4, still making lower highs. So now I think you've got a little bit of a downtrend forming. Maybe double bottoms at 4, and then we can break the trend again. So like a little something like, just kind of get head down for another 15, 20 minutes or so, double bottom at 4, break the trend line. Might be a bit of a play here on EVTV. Otherwise, not seeing too much that I want to force myself into.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. It is. I mean, that word force is interesting because you don't need to force. Yeah, you don't need to take anything if there's nothing there. Like I was just looking at one of my plays here yesterday, Marvell. Really like that one. I know Sharif was also looking at Marvell and chose Broadcom. I think both equally fine. Marvell with a 23 PE. I like this stock, and right into here, it's just not. Like it looks like it's at a decent bottom, but is it really worth the risk right now to buy it when it's just could slide into here? Might be a good little dip buy there, but as you guys know, we are now into another dollar club. Like, where are these members coming from? It's Nvidia, so I'm not going to go long Marvell and stick the short to Nvidia, but I still think there's downside pressures coming here. I don't have any more bids at all on Nvidia except for 184 flat. So hopefully that will come in, a pretty key level there. Mike, they finally got rid of Mike Tomlin. Okay, that's good.
I think he stepped down.
Good, should have.
It's been 19 years, man, 2 decades.
Exactly. So see you later. to that gentleman, and congratulations to Pittsburgh for making it as far as they did, really. But okay, so
I would have rather they move on than Houston. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, of course.
But what are you going to do?
You're going to play Denver anyways. Right?
I know, but you're going to have to get through.
Pittsburgh wasn't making it past the next round.
I'm a little biased, so I mean, I probably always crap on the Patriots. I shouldn't assume Houston's going to beat the Patriots. It's not.
No, I would say the Patriots are going to win that one.
I do think Houston can beat them. I was kind of hoping Pittsburgh would make a bit of a run. I think the Bills match up so well against the Steelers that it's actually laughable.
I think every team matches up well against the Steelers.
Yeah, that's also very, very fair. SoFi seems to be, we were just talking about the stock as being flat. It's almost up 1% now, and it's accelerating to the upside, SoFi. So might have missed an opportunity to go long off of VWAP. So I want to look for the next pullback. It closed at 26.6, so that's right in here. So if it can dip and maybe hold on to the 70s, that could be a place before it gets to 27 bucks. Might want to jump into this one. So SoFi catching a nice bid. This is a stock that it's doing a nice wedge. I like the wedge pattern, right? Like you're getting lower highs or higher lows. The lower highs aren't as obvious, but it is making lower highs. Potential breakout in either direction. Obviously, I always say this caveat, a wedge like this can break either way. If it breaks down, I think that's equally bearish as it would be bullish. Still a chance it could give you that 22, which is where I am still sitting. I have not moved my bid. Been on the bid at $22.22 on SoFi for a while to rebuy the shares that I sold, and it hasn't really given me a reason to change my mind. I might take a consolidation over the 50 period. They're still sitting about 30% on at least Kalshi to be added to the S&P 500 this year. So I think they're getting in.
Yeah, I think SoFi is getting in here as well. Bills are favored this week in Denver like they were last week, so that's good. San Francisco versus Seattle is -7 right now, so that's Seahawks favored there. I think that'll be a pretty good victory for them, I would say. This is going to be a close game anyways. Oh, what time is this one? Saturday at 4:30. Okay, so we have two games in Brampton this weekend.
I hate the 4:30.
Yeah, for me, that's the best. Yeah, just because I'm not doing anything on Saturday. We have a game early in Brampton and then a game late on Friday night, and then we have a practice on Sunday night. Okay, so Saturday, so they go 4:30, 8. I was wondering what would happen on Sunday because this is a funny one, 3 o'clock and 6:30. So it's a 6:30 start here in Chicago. So Rams at Bears. Rams will win that one. So maybe I'll put a parlay together. This, plus this, plus this. No, hold on a second, what am I doing? I'd rather go money line. Let's see the money line, and then stay away. Honestly,
how do you not try at least one turnover by Sam Darnold? I don't know.
What is that?
I also think Seattle's going to win the game.
All right, not bad.
I think it's a mortal lock that Sam Darnold is going to turn the ball over at least once.
Yeah,
that guy.
Yeah, he will. He will.
Playoffs, he's a walking turnover.
So those three right there, Seattle, New England, and Rams right there. I did quite good. I actually didn't even bet the Green Bay games, which was good this last weekend, but $10 paying $20. So 2-1 on betting the favorites there. And I think New England handles Houston good. And then I think the Rams beat the Bears pretty easily. They're not a bunch of idiots like the Packers. And then Seahawks, obviously with that money line, wins that game too. So there you go, plus 204, not
Kittle's
bad.
out all year.
Right there, yeah, I didn't even realize Kittle was out, but I like that play there. So there it is, a little bit of a windfall there for you if you're a gambler. All right, Tesla's right back to 446 right now. So I am going to reload a little bit of this one here, but it looks like Tesla's on one right now. So some good longs early. We screwed up early, caught the bottom. Now we're trying to see about this short, but it was coming out at 446.50, so we're getting real close to that right now. My reload is at 446.20, so we'll see if we can get that. But the next gentleman is a very distinguished gentleman. He is someone that has graced our show for many years, and we are very, very lucky. I didn't even introduce him yet, Andre, man. And you're, bringing him right in immediately, right there. I was doing a good job there, Brian. There.
Why do I look crooked? It must be my camera.
I don't know, mate.
In my head like Tom Lee.
I don't know, the way, yeah, exactly. The way that I always look at things, everything looks crooked. But thank you so much for joining us one more time here today. We missed you last week, but you're here now. And I know that you're in Colorado, and Neil's, I'm not sure if you're a huge football fan. I don't know if we've talked about this before, and I don't think so, but Neil's a Bills fan. So it's Bills versus Broncos this weekend. Any plans on watching that at all, Brian, or?
I might pop in for a few plays, but I'm not a big NFL fan.
Yeah, okay, I didn't think so.
Brian, even though you're not a big NFL fan, I will say this. If the Broncos beat the Buffalo Bills, the next time you are on this show, so hopefully next week, I will wear some sort of Broncos gear. How about that? Yeah, okay. And I'm not holding you to the other side of that because I'm just confident the Bills are going to win. I know you're not a fan, but I will do that.
Neil likes doing these things.
No, I just think it's fun.
Yeah, you like doing it.
Especially because I think my team's going to win, and it just puts a little extra on the line. So I'll do that. I'm not holding you to any other side of it, though, just so you know.
So I don't have any Bills gear to wear. But if you want to come up with, think by the end of the show of something I can do if the Broncos lose, I'm happy to join you on that.
Perfect.
You could end all you have to do is at some point say the Bills make me want to shout, and that would be enough for me.
Okay.
Okay, that sounds like a good one there. Brian, let's go back to the markets here right now. Banks, so they're going to kick off the earnings season today with JP Morgan. The world's biggest bank. And we're going to wait to see what happens here in day 2, day 3, day 4 of earnings. But was there anything in the chart or anything maybe that could have potentially saved us a little bit? I was talking yesterday of getting out of some of the position for myself just before earnings. I think when you see such a great move there ahead of earnings, it's prudent to trim a little bit. But there's the downside move on what was a beat all around for Jamie Dimon and company, but still suffers the fate of a down 4% move. Any thoughts on what you're seeing today on the price action with JP Morgan?
I think that the problem there is not the JP Morgan's earnings, but what Trump is doing and saying with his policies. So, that kind of makes it a little bit more difficult in that regards. We're below the 50-day moving average. We're below the anchor from that October low. I would think it would start to find some support in here and look for the opportunity to bounce in the next few days, but there is just zero evidence of it right now. I think maybe you get a bounce trade back up towards that 320, and that's your best case. But right now, I wouldn't really be looking to buy it.
Yeah, and you and I have talked, and I think we've all talked many times on this show about, either the day 3 rule or just leave it alone until it gets going, right? And I think that's even more important these days as JP Morgan kicks off bank earnings, right? And so you don't know what's going to come from that. All right, what you talked about there, everything that Trump is saying right here with the Fed independence now being questioned, what's going on with the monetary system in the United States anyways, we talked about the money printer being turned on, being turned off. The dollar keeps getting a little weaker here. We showed the yearly chart for the DXY as well. And then that brings me to the question of Bitcoin. So is there anything in the cryptocurrency space right now? Because with all of this, Fed independence now being questioned, Bitcoin's had a nice little run here over the last week and a half, right? We're touching out to 94,000 right now. Is there anything, it could be Ethereum. I know you've talked Solana on the show as well. What are the setups you're looking for? Maybe some things you're talking to your subscribers about. What do you say when people like me ask you about crypto and potentially where we're going over the next couple weeks?
It's kind of been really a choppy mess the last week until today, but it found the buyers where it was supposed to. On this chart, you can see that red dashed line. That's the 20-day moving average, which is crossed up through that dashed blue line, the 50-day moving average. And this green is the anchor off of the November low. So that is where the support was found. We saw the pullback. Now we're getting the push higher. It looks to me like it's an easy move. I'm long some, by the way, up to about 96.5, 97. That's the anchor off of this high in October. So that looks like the easy near-term target. And I'm not sure it'll, stick there. In fact, it might be able to continue to move higher, but that looks imminent in the near term. I think that 96 level. So that's where my focus is. I also own a little bit of XRP, which is the, what do they call this thing? Ripple, right?
Yep.
Kind of the same exact setup. You've got that 20 and 50-day moving average. So Solana is really probably the best looking one in terms of fresh money right here, right now. I don't own it, but maybe I should, because we've got this little band of resistance here. And again, the 20 coming up through the 50, maybe this has the opportunity to head up towards that 200-day moving average as, we're just starting to potentially break this supply right here.
Where you dropped that first anchor at some of the recent lows, that's a pretty common and popular method that you like to use, especially when you're trying to catch something that might be on the rebound and near some of those lows. Is that something that, and again, I don't have your book right here, but your Anchored VWAP book talks all about where to place the anchors, what to look for. And I think that you just nailed it right there with Bitcoin. So that's a pretty good move. Oh, Neil's got it right here. Yeah, here it is right here. Maximum trading gains with Anchored VWAP. It's never far from the desk. We'll just keep it here for now. You guys can pick that up on Amazon. But putting that anchor at recent lows, is that something that we could do for some of these names, even on earnings, where we might be able to say, hey, where do we get out if something fails? Like, is that a pretty common spot for yourself to look for potential bounce plays, looking at that most recent low and dropping an anchor there?
Yeah, it definitely is. And if you look at the daily chart of the XLF, which is holding up a little bit better than JP Morgan, but that 54-ish level is where we see the 50-day moving average and the anchor off the November low. So maybe we start to stabilize in there, and then perhaps JP Morgan can begin its rally. The problem with that is, though, I would be looking simply at a bounce, because that 20-day moving average will start bearing down on it because it's now starting to decline. So I would expect some supply there. If it can work through it, great. Otherwise, it might get trapped below and then kind of just need some more time for the financials to, correct. We've had a nice, little price correction here. Maybe it's due for a little time correction as well. And we could throw a Fibonacci on there. And, that comes down to the 50% retracement as well. So that kind of seems like a zone to look for the buyers in XLF.
Well, I like that look for sure. And that's something that's going to be on the minds of a lot of people in XLF. But I want to talk about semiconductors, or ask about semiconductors if I could. Yeah. We have a market where Intel goes crazy one day or today, and Nvidia doesn't seem to want to do much, and AMD's going ham, and things like Lam and ASML are going crazy. The data names are going. Is there a name out there? And I'm kind of leading because I think you might have one that I think that you should share with everybody that you think could go. We gave our picks of 2026 yesterday. We did in the afternoon show. So is there a name in the space that maybe most people aren't talking about that begins with an A and ends in lab that you that you think might be interesting? But the bigger question would be, right? What makes you like this stock when there are so many names that are absolutely flying and have been rocket ships, and this has been down recently?
Well, on ALAB is what you're referring to, or XAIR Labs. It had this phenomenal run last year, and it's taken really about, 4 or 5 months, and it's been, stuck below the anchor from that high. Meanwhile, we had that 50-day moving average declining, and we typically see that rallies with a declining 50-day moving average fail. Now we've got the 50-day moving average flattened out. The 20-day moving average is coming up through it. The buyers are gaining control in here. And this little pattern is actually pretty common right now in the market overall. It was the same pattern that I identified NXT with, a solar name, yesterday, that got up through the anchor off the high. And then you can also look at even ARK, ARKK. Nothing to do with the manager, but the price action here, kind of the same story. The anchor off that high had been supply, and now we're getting past it and breaking resistance as well. So these must be companies in that portfolio, I would imagine. But it's a common little theme that I've noticed here recently. I had some notes with a couple more symbols on it that looked like this. Anyways, But that, that's what's going on with ALAB is now we have, because we're above the anchor from this high, the buyers from, the average person who's bought since this pull down is now making money. And we've had these recent higher lows compressing the range. So it's due for, I think, to catch up with some of the outperformance in the SMH.
So another quick question for you, because you might not remember this, but this was a while back when I was hosting the aftermarket show for Sean one day on a Tuesday, and I was discussing like dip buying something, and I asked you what your thoughts were about it, and you gave a reason for not liking it, and I wonder if it's something that applies here in ALAB. And it came down to, on the pullback, it had a downward sloping 200 period moving average. Whereas ALAB dropped $100 from the highs, 250 to 150, but still has an upward sloping 200 period moving average. Now, is this something that is so if something's at a hefty pullback, is this a requirement for you, or is it just a confluence thing with this upward sloping 200 period moving average, or is it more just, you got to feel it out, you're looking for reasons for confluence or not?
Yeah, it's nice to see that it's still above the 200-day moving average. That tells me that when it emerges out of this pattern, that is more likely to sustain from the longer-term time frame, because we don't have, that big source of supply potentially overhead. That if we had, if the 200-day moving average looked like this, right, what I'm drawing in, I would be less enthusiastic, thinking, well, we're running into a 200-day moving average. But this, these green arrows show where that 200-day moving average is. So we've got a rising 20 above a rising 50, above a rising 200-day moving average, as you said, a confluence that it's above all of them. The stock had, had a huge run. It corrected through price, and in terms of, this downward move, and then through time, it's building the energy, and now that energy is compressed enough that it should be able to sustain a nicer move to the upside.
Yeah, I definitely like that look, and it's something that I've started to look at when I'm looking at swing trades. One more question for you. Obviously, you've been talking to us and sort of teaching everybody in real time about that anchored VWAP. And certainly, like, there's some obvious places where you could use, let's just say after earnings. Maybe there's like, Apple could have an event, and maybe that's a good time to use it. Certainly, like, maybe you'll have Liberation Day bottoms. Is there anything outside of those sort of obvious events? Like, what if the stock just simply had a massive volume spike? Because I've been thinking about some of these small caps that trade, where you have catalysts which are, I don't know, like sometimes they seem good, but maybe they're not. But if it does 3 or 4x in volume on some random stock, and I just pull up something like an EVTV, which happens to be running today, and it's just a random stock. Have you ever applied, or do you apply at all, anchors to some of these levels? 'Cause I'd be curious as to where we could further expand the use. And maybe this is too extreme an example, but just your thoughts on extending the use of anchored VWAP to maybe some other types of names like these small cap runners. It's something you've done before?
Yeah, I mean, in EVTV, for instance, it got moving yesterday. So on this chart, just to explain what all these lines are, I have the daily VWAP, that's the 2-day. And if you go back, you'll see the 3, 4, and 5-day volume weighted average price. Those aren't as important right here because they, the 2, 3, 4, and 5 have all compressed because all the volume occurred yesterday and nothing the prior 3 days, basically. That's why they're in the same place. Today, however, this is one of my bread and butter strategies, and it's a chapter in the book about chase the gap or wait for VWAP. Do you chase that strength early morning and buy it, thinking that it's going to continue to move higher, or do you let it bleed out a little bit, suck in the short sellers, and then when it regains the volume weighted average price for the day, that says the buyers are back in control. It's their game to lose. So if you can make a purchase here and justify it with a low risk place for the stop, which in this case would be below the low of the day, that's not really risking too much in a stock like this for the type of move that has occurred since then. That never dipped below that. It did dip briefly below the VWAP, but it's back up above it, and here we are testing it once again. So in EVTV right now, the way I would look at it is it's either in danger, in jeopardy of failing, Or maybe we're going to see something like this occur, Neil, where maybe in the next, let's say we get a bounce, got the wrong tool. Maybe we get a bounce in here and it rallies up to the anchor from the high. Then it kind of comes back, builds some energy. And then in the afternoon, in the next 55 minutes, it gets back above that VWAP from the peak. That means the average participant, the average short seller who thinks they're shorting, is profitable, that they've successfully picked the turning point, they on average become losers. The buyers get invigorated, and then above this anchor could see an afternoon move is the way I'd be looking at this stock.
Okay, Brian, in the theme, thanks for doing all of that. As everybody in the audience is loving this talk, so thank you so much for that. And everybody can go get all the anchored VWAP talk right here. And someone in the chat is like, my book gets delivered tomorrow. So there you go, bang on that one. Yeah, all right. So in the theme of yesterday at this time, we were doing our picks for 2026. So we picked 3, and I'm not going to put you on the spot, but is there a name right now? I'm sure you get asked this all the time. Something that you're looking for, and I know you don't have to go out the whole year, but if there was one name that's looking like it's interesting to you that you could maybe hold for that 6 to 12 month period, give us something that you like. I mean, thematic wise, you could choose a theme, space, anything like that, or an individual stock, ETF, whatever. What's on your plate right here looking forward to 2026?
Oh, that's so tough, Neil. I mean, Sean, because I really don't think of the market that way. I try to really stick in my lane, which is swing trading. If you want to know a stock I think might be able to do well this week, I can do that for you. But as far as 6 to 12 months out, I just don't have it in me. I can't bullshit people about that.
Okay. Well, then let's just go with what is setting up. Give us one name for the swing traders out there. Yeah. What is something that is looking promising, and then we'll leave it to the rest of them. They can find out their own 6-month trades. So what is Brian Shannon looking at right now? If we told you had $1,000 to run with right here, and you had to get in and out over the next week and a half, what do you like? And let's leave it at that.
I like the metals company, TMC, and I think you guys are familiar with this name.
Yep.
And it is, one of these rare earth miners. What they do, is they tear the hell out of the ocean bed to get these. So if you don't, like I said about a stock last week, if you don't like what the company does, it doesn't mean don't invest in it. Invest in it, make your trade in it, make the money, and then go donate money to the charity that you think will offset the damage that you're doing. Right. Coral in the ocean or whatever. But the bottom line is here, same thing we just spoke about. We've got a rising 20-day moving average right here, that red line. The 50 is rising. The 200 is rising. We're back above the anchor from the peak over here. This is the all-time high. So we've had that price correction, now a time correction, a little shakeout, and it's looking like this one has the potential, I think, probably above the high of, just this week, just the last 2 days. So yesterday was 64 cents, so was today. So above 764, I think that gets this thing cooking, and your stop will go underneath this low right here. So real tight stop. And, if you wanted to hold it for longer, then maybe your stop goes under here on the daily time frame. So you could say below that low of 689. I'm going to have my stop a little bit tighter, right over under 725. But above 760 looks like it should get going. There's a decent short position in here as well. So that looks good. I think you got to keep a close eye on that the next couple days.
That's it, Brian Shannon. Thank you from @Alpha Trends. Go check him out. Brian, thank you so much for everything. And look, that's one of the best answers, right? I mean, I think we talk about that trading all the time on the show. If it's not setting up for you and it's not in your wheelhouse, then you puff pass. And
I love that you give the entire trading plan out there. That you can always tell, whether someone has thought out a trade because that came like that. Like you're put on the spot and it's like, oh, this is the setup, this is the entry, this is where the stop is. So I know you put that work in, which is what you should always do.
Yeah, Brian, you want to host a show or anything like that? I mean, we have spaces available if you want to move to lovely Toronto, Ontario, Canada. We could probably make that happen. But very successful, Brian Shannon, with @Alpha Trends and your great book. So we want to say thank you very much for joining us again. Go Broncos, go Bills for a good game. And we'll talk to you next week and we'll figure out where that bet is going. And hopefully it's a good game for both sides, and we'll have some fun next week.
Sounds good. Okay.
Great. Thanks, Brian.
Take care, Brian. Thanks.
Ciao, ciao, ciao. That's our guest trader of the day, and we can't have a better one, especially for you guys that are swing trading. And we really like Brian's answer there, right? I mean, I thought I knew that. Like, I know I've asked him many times what he thinks of a stock longer term, and it's always like, you know, buy and hold kind of strategies on indexes or ETFs and things like that. But for an individual kind of swing trade momentum plays, Brian Shannon is your guy. We want to thank him one more time. I mean, he's on all the time, so we want to thank him for doing that one more time here with us.
You mentioned the metals company having a short float. It's like 11%.
11, okay.
Although, you know what, I'm in the habit now of double checking with another source.
Yeah, why not?
Because you know, I just checked FinViz and it says 15%. So
okay.
Yeah, it might be a little bit higher, but it's in the double digits. Sometimes that can make a difference in your trade.
It sort of is interesting, like how often those websites get updated. You know, like
it's a timing thing. Yeah, they're all delayed. Short float data is always delayed, right? So you're not looking at like in the actual moment. Although in theory it should be possible to have short float data, whatever that would be. Maybe updated every couple of days or at least once a week. And there's always been talk. I shouldn't say there's always. There's been talk of that in the past. But for now, I think it's just always best to double check. But it does matter because I think when you're looking at a small cap or small or medium cap company that might not be, the chart might not be as productive, or maybe they're not making money yet. That's usually an arrow that you want in the quiver, is for there to be some kind of a short float. So I like the metals company in there for that reason. It certainly does help. SoFi doesn't have it doesn't have a gigantic short float that I'm aware of. I haven't checked in a while, but it's still going. It ended up not really dipping. Obviously, it didn't dip back into 26.75 like we're talking about earlier. You guys can see it's now above 27, up 2%. Not really sure why in particular this is going. The other thing that's moving, and I said if we got to 94,000 on IBIT, so we're now at 94.3. There it is, like 94.3 on Bitcoin, and IBIT is still trending up. It has not broken trend. Like, this is pretty clean. But if I see IBIT break the trend, I'm just going to look for a bit of a reversal play just for this afternoon, based on the fact that we turned around here in a big way last time. And if you look at the daily chart, this is once, twice, 3 times we have been rejecting this area. We probably are set for a breakout here because we're back above the 50-period moving average. I think that's more of like a higher time frame thing, though. At least for this afternoon, I'm going to look for the reversion if we get it here on Bitcoin. As there's some small cappers moving around here. I just saw someone saying Hood. Robinhood's probably moving. I mean, if Bitcoin's doing this, then I would suspect Robinhood is making a move. You got SoFi blasting to the upside, so I would suspect that if anything, maybe they're just all moving in concert together here. Yeah, Robinhood, more or less, similar move. I shouldn't say the same move. I would say that SoFi's move looks a little bit more impressive given how weak it was relatively, but all looking pretty good. But it's the reversion I'm looking for on IBIT.
We have a potential monster break for those of you trading in the Forex space. This is US dollar yen right now. So Japanese yen getting pumped here, 159. Like, this is a multi, like this top, we're back to 22 right here. And if I zoom out more, I mean, you could just see what's been exactly happening to the US dollar versus the yen. So this is USD / the yen. So you're going to see it starting to go upside. If we look against the euro and things like that as well, very, very interesting plays happening for us right now. I don't really know how to play this other than just note what is happening there if you are a Forex trader. And I see some people in the chat, maybe you guys can give some trade ideas, but this is what's been going on right here over the last couple of days as US dollar versus yen. And it's not like the DXY, the overall dollar strength over the last little while in 26 has been to the upside. But if we go over here and check out the US dollar, as we just talked about potentially strength in Bitcoin and what that means as people, maybe getting rid of their dollars, changing it over to crypto. The one thing that we know, forget about changing it over to crypto. What about precious metals? And we heard gold. Obviously, we've seen that move here. This is a daily chart for gold. We don't have to tell you what that's been doing lately. Silver, same way. Copper, great talk yesterday. I think Brendan mentioned that was almost one of his picks there, but copper's doing really well as well. I can see the use. Here's CopX right here. I could really see the use. This is just an ETF. Does this have copper proper on here? Yeah, copper futures, why not? There it is. So a nice move upside there. Platinum as well. Almost sold my ring the other day. Just kidding, Marissa, if you're watching. But platinum's going to the upside as well, as many of these names, man, just continue to tick higher in the metal space as we worry about the US dollar, right? These are just the carry forward trade there for the futures. But yeah, we worry a little bit about US dollar strength and weakness here over the last little while. So copper, nice upside move. And then obviously, as we talk about SLV, spot silver, this is again an ETF, but spot silver, same kind of a way, all the way to the upside there. So the yen going hard upside, and so is the US dollar right now, which is creating the yen weakness, US dollar strength. We see upside in that play as well. All right. Oh, Brendan, like the smartest guy in the room here again. I don't know if I can call this up on our news source here, but IREN, I just saw, I don't even know if it is a, oh yeah, no, it's not on this one, but IREN upgraded today by H.C. Wainwright. So a name that Brendan, he said he liked the energy space. He hit that yesterday. Great call there, Brendo. As IREN is running right now to some of these highs and breaking out. So in what looked great on a chart, it looks like that continues to go higher. We had some SMR. I know Neil was looking at that. Oopsies. That's Blue Ocean again. SMR was looking pretty good here today, as it had that. I think you were short, but we just had a nice run up through VWAP right there. Now brought it back in, down 1.27%. There goes SMR. So watch out now as SMR making moves again today. Oklo, names like that. If you like the powers, there's this Constellation was taken there yesterday as well. So that could be a good.
I thought Brendan took who took Constellation?
I think it was Brendan. Yeah, and
it was Brendan.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. So again, nice. Come on, charts, let's go. Constellation maybe going the other way, but that's, you know, another one of those plays looking decent. I was, you know, we'll have to do a little bit more picks because there are so many names. I was going to say, if there was going to be a short, and I thought about this yesterday after it was clear that we could choose any name short, DraftKings, I was thinking about. If you kind of look the other way, like you flip the chart around, I just talked about Brendo with IREN there. Looking to break out long. What about this name looking to break the other way? I mean, to me, this looks like DraftKings had a run into the 200 period moving average. And now with NFL bye-bye in a couple weeks, right? That's going to create a little bit of a, what's the opposite of a windfall? Negative catalyst.
Like a headwind.
Headwind is a good one. Yeah, I like the headwind. That should, yeah. Like, I mean, no college football. Obviously, there's always going to be things to bet on, right? I mean, March Madness is right around the corner. You know,
Olympics. Like,
no one really.
I'm surprised the Olympics aren't bet on more.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like you can be so like I'm an Olympics. I don't need to bet.
The Olympics are so rigged.
I enjoy sports enough that I don't need to bet on them.
Right.
But like, if you're a degenerate, there's like a million random things that you would, in theory, be able to bet on in the Olympics. Now, some of the sports, look, I get it. Like, who in their right mind, if you think that the NFL has an issue, go try betting on like figure skating or something where, like, I'll watch it. Like, I remember, like, just when you think you have it figured out, like, what looks like a winning, oh, this looks like it should be a win. I'm like, well, forget about it, man. Like, if I can't watch, it's really difficult to watch something, be like pretty certain as to what should be the outcome, and then it's like everybody, it's like the judges are exactly against what everybody else seems to think. I'm like, you can't bet on that. But the races, no, like speed skating. That shit's I think that's an exciting sport.
Obviously,
I'm surprised,
yeah.
I'm surprised that there isn't more.
The Olympics are awesome to watch. There's just not, as far as I know, there's just not that much gambling on them.
Yeah,
so,
which is surprising.
You know, yeah, and like I said, right there, we've had many instances over the last little while of competitions not being participated fairly. I don't remember the Olympics that there was a whole documentary there.
That was a cool
about Russia.
The Russian one. That's a really good. If you've never seen it, I forget the name.
They're literally banned now.
The guy was doing
that was 10 years ago.
He was doing a documentary on like one thing, and then it just turned into this. It turned into him uncovering like that Russian.
Yeah. So we'll see. And of course, you know, I'm Italian, so we'll wait to see if we have to influence any of those outcomes as well, right there. So
just put it on for Lonnie to win the Olympics in the long jump.
Well, it's quite obvious that the Italians have the best athletes in the world. I mean, as you just said, fastest
denied
man, long jump.
Marcel Jacobs is not the fastest.
I don't know. I have no idea.
The guy was like the biggest one-hit wonder of all time.
Exactly.
No, but the kid's absurd.
Good. Yeah.
And random scenes, bet on curling. You're an expert at curling now. I'm not an expert on curling.
No.
I honestly, to be honest, like I had to ice I think I had a small pull from the push-offs, and I knew better than this because I had some overuse in my tennis elbow, so I knew it was going to be a bit of a problem. I should have worn a sleeve or something because it is.
The joke amongst all of our friends is if Neil's playing a sport, he's going to get hurt. So even in curling, I think you can get hurt. I curled for a long time and then hurt my knee. So
I've been a bad.
I only coach.
I'm just ever since I was in high school. I'm very, very bad about. I always play hurt. Like I'll pull a hammy and then just go back at it, and so like some of that you put on yourself, but no, actually all of that you put on yourself.
There we go. Thank you, Fluffy Hippo. We're on nothing but the high of what we do around here, and I think that's something that's awesome. So I don't know. We'll have to. Well, we don't like to trade impaired, and I don't think that anybody should do that. So we will clear that one. But thank you there, Fluffy Hippo.
Your norm is your norm.
Is Neil a golf guy? No, he is not, and we explained that injuries again. So there you go.
No, but that's different. I actually have it's the way it was described to me. It's like arthritis of the spine, and it basically affects any harsh twisting motion. I had to quit baseball over it, and I could play ball. It's just like after a few swings, it gets tighter and tighter, and then it's a lot of pain. Like anyone that has arthritis knows all about it. It's just getting old, man.
Oh man, arthritis is
it ain't fun, man.
Yeah, man, I have arthritis in my knee since like probably 20 years old. So it's
because there's not much you can do except not do the stuff that impairs it.
Yeah, there it is.
That EVTV is losing. I don't think we're getting the VWAP bounce here. It just lost a bid.
And torn Achilles as well. So there we go, man. Yes, Patek right there. Our own, what do they call it? Porcelain doll. No. All right, let's keep going. Yeah, look, that's the thing, man. That's why we have kids, right? We can enjoy them playing sports, and we'll just see if we can sit out there and help them. I say to my daughter, if I ever took half the hits she did on the ice, they'd have to get a stretcher. For me, you know, like that would be the end of
roll off.
Yeah, I'd be like, no, that's it, man. I'm done hockey for a minute. On that note, we say get well soon, as we will not be seeing Joe anymore for the week. That's all. He's just gone, and then he'll be hopefully just sitting here with his knees, getting his right knee operated on. So we say shout out to him. As he's in recovery. I think he's left, so into recovery mode ASAP, and get well soon, Mr. Joseph. All right, so it's 3:21 right now, guys.
This thing is...
thank you so much for watching again here today. I'm not sure what our count is at. I'm actually really disappointed that we haven't been able to hit 350 yet.
550.
Okay. Who's over there? If it was Ramin, she'd already be sending this black right now. Look, this is how many people, we have tons of people in the chat. You guys are already subscribers. So the only way to become a subscriber is to get in the chat, all right? So, look, I'll show the chat here. This is great. We're in here. There's so much fun here all of the time. I'm trying to show you guys comments, fun stuff that's happening. If you want to get into the chat, it's the best chat. It's a hell of a lot of fun, but no pressure. But we would like you to hit that like and that subscribe. Keep the good times rolling around here, right? So, yeah, Ozan, you can only subscribe once. So don't go in and out.
Yeah,
just hit the subscribe. Stay in there, Ozan. But I will hit this for you right there. See, and how would I know that Ozan said that if he wasn't in the chat? You know, so you got to get into the chat. There it is. That's the moo cow for you, Ozan, as we get going. 24 more.
There it is.
Ooh.
Darwin saying the chat is an exclusive club.
23 more.
It really is, because then we get to actually talk with you. There's so many people that are probably watching it passively. They're like, I had this question, but shoot, am I going to get shot down? Is that a silly question about this stock? Should I bring this up? Are people going to make fun of me? That's not how this is. Here's the reality. You ask a question in this chat, if someone ribs you for it, our chat's going to get on them for being a bad member of the community. It just doesn't happen around here. The other thing is, I don't know if we got this super chat, but I just noticed the one on UNH. Because sometimes I saw Soon Free mention this, and maybe it's been talked about, maybe it hasn't, but only UNH. Bad day for UNH, but there might be something brewing here. Because if we come to the daily chart, I've been waiting for this to take the 200 period moving average. So was it a good thing that it's riding the 200 period average and breaking the wrong direction? No, it's not. But the fact that it's riding the 200 period means the resistance is still very clean off this 200 period. I think the next trade in UNH, to the long side anyways, will be breaking out above this 200 period moving average. And once it does that, then I'm back in, baby, because I've been out of this one since the last time it failed at that level. But I am looking for a spot to get back in. And I love one thing that Brian said. You know what? When you're trading, you can not like what a company does. Put some of the trading profits to like charity or whatever makes you feel better. Yeah, I had this as a long-term holding, and now I only am willing to swing trade UNH. You know, it is what it is, and maybe that's right or wrong, but you just got to be able to do.
Is that Mark down there?
I don't know who it is. It's Mark or it's Rob or it's Mark. But he's like underneath my desk and there's like a ratchet or.
I'm like, is this like? I know he wouldn't do this to us, but is this whole thing about to fall? Right there, but
next to my PC.
IBM getting hit, as is Micron. But I want to tell you one thing here: PDS Biotechnology on the Nasdaq. PDSB is transforming how the immune system targets and fights cancer. Obviously very important, with initial focus on HPV-16 positive head and neck cancer. We talked about this last week. HPV-16 can cause head and neck cancer, and more people are facing these high-risk cancers than ever before. HPV-16 head cancer and neck cancers are projected to become the most common type of head and neck cancer in the United States. Please go find out more at pdsbiotech.com. That is pdsbiotech.com to find more about this very, very important cancer. Adara with some news, maybe Micron, maybe some IBM.
Pardon?
You about Micron or IBM at all?
Oh, no, it's not either. It's VKTX. We're going to talk here about Viking Therapeutics. I'm seeing some action here on social media suggesting, I guess, there was this JP Morgan healthcare conference. An analyst note here from this conference, or at least a spectator note for the conference, suggests that the company is seeing, quote, strategic inbound interest. And we know that we've heard some conversations. Neil as well has talked about this one potentially being a buyout target. So strategic inbound interest being viewed at least partially here as a nice look. Overall, the quote here is that the company is, quote, seeing steady and broader inbound strategic partnership interest than what can be gleaned from the public eye. So again, this analyst event providing some insight into potential inbound interest for VKTX. Back to you.
I think the issue, I'm like 1 for 2 swinging Viking. The issue with the stock where you think that where you think at least a decent part of the upside is going to be potential takeout or takeover, you really need to make sure that you ring the register if you get a bounce when that doesn't happen. And I'm purposely going to show you what might be the most, if there's a more ridiculous reversal candle in the last year than this one on August 19th,
IBM's, I think,
Viking, then I can't imagine. This was, when you get a pop, if you are swinging something and you get a move like this is one of the biggest reasons why taking profit matters. Because I remember when this held the 50 period, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to take this long breakout on Viking, the 200, and then set a trailing stop. And I remember getting trailed out of this thing, being like, oh my goodness, that is the best save of all time. And then it goes back to the bottom. And it's actually breaking the 200 period as we speak. If this can hold a 200, I might jump back into this swing, to be real with you. But just note that whenever when these guys have results, they tank, for sure. Weird noises coming from under my desk. Let's go grab the super chat here. From S4U, is SMCI goodbye now? Okay, so unfortunately, you're not going to be able to get me to say yes to SMCI. I actually have looked at this one today because it was breaking down. I'm going to slap in terms of like tradable opportunities, I'm not sure why I wasn't, like it's holding $30 and then it flat bottom broke 29 today. So I don't even know why this wasn't on the radar to look at. Like that's a pretty clean breakdown through an obvious low at 29, and then you get like a quick dollar move. I usually like that kind of a setup. I just feel like, whoops, oh, that's right, not split adjusted. Let me just go to a different chart. So utilize E-signal here because that'll adjust for splits, and then we can have a quick look. On the weekly chart, go to the higher time frame. So you're breaking down, and you're under the 200 period on a weekly time frame and possibly headed for, I think, like $25. You also have these 2024 lows in here as well. But everything about this still feels like it's trending down to me. It doesn't mean it can't bounce, but it's been so out of favor for so long, it's going to take something distinct for me. And certainly setting up on a higher time frame when you've been this bad, as opposed to the daily chart, I like to see the weekly look better, even the monthly sometimes. Like that'd be, the example of the monthly would be like a Lululemon, where on the monthly chart, look at how good that bottom has been. It was like triple bottom, tagged it, there's your green month on Lulu. When it's a falling knife like that, just wait for your chance to get in. I'm not sure SMCI looks like that yet.
Yeah, Lululemon and Target, two kind of downward trending stocks I was able to pick up near some of those lows, but I think that's a great idea there for SMCI. And I just don't trust that company after all that accounting stuff, so I don't. I would just suggest Dell is a better play for me on that one. Will Netflix go over $100 following earnings? Yes. I kind of say that like tongue-in-cheek a little bit there. You know, Netflix did have good earnings. I have to actually look up the date of their last earnings call to show you guys. But I just think it's beat up here. It can't get out of the way of Warner Brothers. You know, I think their daily active user will be fine. They just, K-pop just won. By the way, shout out to Canada. I forget her name, but it's produced, written by a Canadian, K-pop Demon Hunters. They took down Best Song. They took down Best, I don't know, animation, I guess, there at the Globe. So I think that Netflix should be able to get a little bit of headwind from that, tailwind from that. And yeah, put out a good number for everybody on earnings day. And yeah, I think it should be celebrated. I like Netflix. I think it does have a chance to get going. And hey, look, you know, if they wind up getting Warner Brothers, great. I think that's better for them that they get it rather than they don't. But that's going to cost them a little bit of money too, right? So when that's all settled down, I feel like it's been hit enough right now, Netflix, that, and I have to find out when earnings are. It doesn't, to me, I don't care. But I'm just looking at it right now. You know, they were cruising until that deal happened. Yes. 550? Oh, we hit it.
We get it.
We got it. Okay, Brennan just mentioned to me, let's throw it up there. We got 500. Okay.
Is that man? Darwin?
There it is. We got it. We got that right there. So thank you to everybody for the 550. Lots of fun right there. All right. First one, first goal met, right? 550. Yes. There's the Dare. Yeah, I like that, Dare. I like that little dance there. It's kind of like what I used to do in the club. You got one in each hand.
Now you guys are just trolling us. I know it, you know it, Ramin knows it, Fabian knows it, Mark over here still working hard. There it is. We need to get to let's just get it past.
I'm not celebrating again until it's like 10 over.
Exactly.
You know, it has to be like 10 over. But yeah, thank you very much, man. I mean, everybody around here works super hard, and that's the whole point of what we're doing right now. Yeah, get that going there. There it is. White men can indeed jump.
Still ain't gonna. Oh, come on. Now,
all right, now, but anyways, regardless, man, a lot of fun as everybody's doing that. That's fun. Okay, well, if you hit unsubscribe, you know, then you can't get into the chat. So
like that.
But there it is, man. Thank you so much for all of that. And, you know, we're going to keep doing everything that we do all year round. And, you know, the only days we take off, of course, are going to be U.S. holidays, even though we are located in lovely downtown Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Next goal is 1 million. Like, you know, let's put it honest. Obviously, we'll celebrate 750,000. So let's get up to there, another 200,000. Man, it took a while to get to 550. So I'm hoping 200,000 more is not a problem, but I would think it might be. So thank you so much to everybody, man. And yeah, just keep it going. Tell all your friends.
We get to 567,000.
Yeah, exactly. Tell 567? Oh, 567? Yeah. Oh, for that? Yeah, it's a good one. Or is it? But thank you to everybody for support, right? I mean, that's what we're doing here, and having a good time every day, and wouldn't be able to do that without you guys. So,
speaking of which,
okay, no, we cannot. We cannot look at anything until we get over 500 again. We are officially on strike. But yeah, I liked Vertiv yesterday, so I like VRT. I think it's another one of those plays that can continue to work all year. So yeah, nothing wrong. I don't know anything about AAOI.
No, I don't know that name either, but I was gonna say this one does feel like. There we go. This one does feel like it's on the verge of breaking. Actually, today it was trying to break the 50, but you know, Brian was talking about some names that have pulled back. and still have well above the 200 period and then the upward sloping as well. Those are the kind of things you like a little bit better for dip buy. Just would be nice if we could get above the 50 period. But I think that's one that can work. I don't know AAO. Applied optoelectronics. Well, we can always look at a chart. That's the beauty of it, because price doesn't lie. I mean, usually you can look at a chart. In a second, I'm probably just going to start going to e-signal as the first look. I'm just going to do that because I seriously doubt this thing can't have only been around for a couple of days. So there we go. Hey, this looks pretty solid. Let's look at maybe a higher time frame here on AAOI. This is the first time I've looked at this chart. Little top-ish, but I do love the fact that on the weekly, you are making a very, very clear run at those with some higher lows above the 50. Hopefully you can hold on to this higher low this week at about $32.50 and kind of retest the 40 before you get back underneath 35. But no, I like both of those charts. They look fantastic. It's not always about picking things, but we get a lot of questions about stocks that are at bottoms, like not to harp on SMCI, but I always find it much better to just buy a dip in the stock that's in an uptrend than to try to pick a bottom in something that's in a downtrend. I promise you this, in any space that you're looking, just about any space, because marijuana is probably be an example of not being true here. Almost any space you're going to look at, there is something which is uptrending and relatively strong. And I would just rather be involved in that, if at all possible, unless you're just that convinced that the market's got it wrong. And we have another one from Easy Peasy.
I mean, this guy's putting up some numbers, so I want to say thank you so much. He's donating 0.2% of whatever he winds up making on a daily basis. So thank you, Easy Peasy. There it is, man. 2.4K today. We can ask you what stock.
He is, because it's always exactly. Look at the 20.
Yeah. He has to do it. It's probably costing him more to send it to us than to do that. But there it is, 0.2%. We want to thank you, Easy Peasy, for that. Let us know.
They get their 30.
Yeah, let us know what stock potentially that was on and anything like that. All right, I got a question too here from Paula. She was just asking me here, where's the bottom for me on Nvidia? And I said I would talk about it. I don't. The problem is it's getting close to 350, and when 350 hits, we have those imbalances. So I don't know if the imbalances are going to be long or short, so buys or sells. So I am just I got some out there on the 21 period. I'm just using a 1-minute chart for this. My eventual out for sure would be VWAP, which is right where we're in, so 185.20, so we can't lose on this trade. I think the end game here would just be where it's been bouncing off of. So for me, I think this 184.25, I don't really see any, there's buyers on Nvidia. Right now, it's just doing this because the market's going to the downside. I'm actually somewhat bullish on Nvidia at these levels. It's holding up okay today. The market's down 0.5, Nvidia's down 1.1%, so it's outpacing both the ES and the Nasdaq right here. It's, we talked about AMD today catching, again, we're going the other way, catching an upgrade, so that's, a lot of the shine is on AMD today. A better company is Nvidia. So I think that with that being said, I'm still pretty bullish on Nvidia. So I'm just covering right now ahead of those numbers. I mean, bouncing off the 50 period and whatnot. So I'm not sure where you're short, Paula, but those are kind of the levels for me that I'm looking at. So we'll just continue to watch out and see if it does hit those lows. But I might actually just stop myself out here on let's just change it up. I'm going to stop it out on a 185 break. So the idea was on this trade, I just canceled my old stop. It was a break of 50 there. So this was 20 cents or so, Paula, worth of a trade. So that's 30s. We got out at 30s. So we took 5-1 at the very lows there. So I feel like stopping out the 200 period makes sense. So 185.01 now. We'll just stop it out. We only have less than 10% trailed it out.
I'm just clear about that.
If it does, yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's still a stop out for me. I mean, I'm stopping myself out right there. If it does break back above 185. So, yeah. And tomorrow's another day. I mean, I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring, but at 350.
Oh, we have there's actually some early looking balance.
Okay, is there some early look? So I was going to say at 350, these things pop out. And we don't have Nasdaq now, so it's going to really affect it. But, okay, so cruise lines.
Yeah, well, maybe just this one. NCLH, 2.4 million early look buy. OCG's a penny stocks, who cares? And then MO, every time I've seen this one, it's usually paired off. Uber with an 850,000 early look sell. Uber has had some trouble recently. BMNR is actually nothing. Roblox, 440,000 to the sell side. And don't forget this, because it'll be easy to forget. On Friday, Walmart goes into, it's Friday, right? Maybe it's, I think it's
Walmart?
on Friday. No, Walmart's in that.
Yeah, I don't know what day it is.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, I thought it was like
this-
the 19th or the
it's definitely
17th.
this
or,
week.
What day is the 17th?
Maybe it's in the note.
No, it's a Saturday.
I see it the 16th.
16th, okay, yeah.
So
I
it is
was gonna-
Friday.
yeah.
The Nasdaq is supposed to be 100, sorry, Walmart on Friday is supposed to be like 100. That can't be right. That says 100 million. It seems like way too big. But either way, it's going to be a gigantic upweight, potentially, on the imbalance locator. You never know. We got all excited about CVNA and it being a nothing burger. I did jump into this trend break after a topping tail wick on IBIT. So there's kind of made the same high at 53.6, did a topping tail candle. So that was kind of a reason. When it broke the trend, it didn't do anything. So I didn't get in. But once it did that, topping tail jumped into the short. It had one little pop down into the 40s, and that's about it. Cousin Faith, MFG and AMPX, a buy. Mizuho. All right, let's have a quick look at MFG if we can. What the barcode? Oh, sorry. Let me just this is what got me here with MFG. When's the last time you saw a stock do this all day? Like they're not getting, these guys aren't getting bought out that I know of. Certainly looks like that's what's happening. Like for a stock which has been trending like this, since when do you see consolidation like that? Consolidation like that's usually pretty good, but I guess this is just how it trades. So, I mean, yeah, it's a good trending stock, but I don't know, again, I don't know anything about the company, and when you have a literal topping tail candle and that weird barcode action on it, I'm gonna say pass, because when I look at the chart, that one, that's just weird. And if it's weird, that means I don't know it, and I'll stay away. Like that is price action that I am not accustomed to seeing at all. So I would just say a pass. And AMPX, don't really know them either. Amperis Technologies, ooh, this one seems immediately a little bit more reasonable, if it even wants to load up here, because then you get normal movement, which I like to see. Those are charts that we can be familiar with. And you have what looks like a potential trend break on the daily forming. So this one, yeah, this one breaking trend over the 50, like that's a pretty solid setup if you like the company, no questions asked. And then you can sometimes risk to this support here. If you're really frisky, you can risk the 200 period, but then you're risking like 30% or so. That's really frisky because you're risking a lot. But that's a good trend break on AMPX. As far as Mizuho, I'd stay away from that. And we got a super chat as well. Right. Easy peasy again, 55 exactly. Ooh, went out 6-7. Sean, your technique and energy is what I use. Neil, I use your stop losses. Congrats, 50. Oh, that's why you did 55. I'm slow on the uptake. Congrats on the 550K. Take TTV care, and the studio looks great.
Yes,
absolutely. What a fantastic job. I mean, you can see Mark, obviously, you see Rob sometimes, Randy, the contractors, and everybody, Fabian's around here all the time working, which he currently is right now, to make this look fantastic. So, that's where all the effort goes to, and we hope you guys enjoy it. And it's not even done yet. It's not close to done. We have so much still happening. Like, we're going to get these hooked up behind us so we can swivel around, still have some PCs, be facing.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot.
Desk and have a conversation. And I can tell we're going over to Adara right now.
There's pushing up here. Netflix reportedly considering amending their bid for Warner Brothers to make it all cash. Again, WBD, this bid from Netflix might be amended to be all cash. Back to you.
The first thing I said was no, because I thought they were going to up their bid. But all cash is better than what they're doing. Like,
I just punch long.
It's a weird share structure that they have going on. So Warner Brothers, yeah, I took the long off the highs. It's right here. 28.55 was the prior high. So if it holds on to the 50, I think that can be good. This puts the onus on, what are they again? Whatever. The other guys, who for some reason I can't remember the name of them.
Paramount Sky.
Paramount puts the onus on them potentially to sweeten their bid. We'll see if they do, but pull back into prior.
Oh boy,
is already starting to go.
We're doing it right now. Let's go right now. Out of nowhere, boom goes the dynamite. Warner Brothers just shoots right up again. Let's go, Adara. Yes, Adara. The #1 reason to sign up right now, become a subscriber. We just get that news. There goes Warner Brothers, and we ain't scared. No, no, no. We buy that. That's exactly what we wanted to hear for Warner Brothers. And boom goes the dynamite, man. We definitely hit that with a good amount of shares. Upside play there for Warner Brothers. Yeah, buddy. That's a good one. Let's go, Warner Brothers. Shooting it up, man. Definitely. We are now absolutely on crazy fire right now. Let's go, Warner Brothers. How high can we fly right now? I punched into a lot of shares right there. That was a good story. We like it. There goes Warner Brothers straight there to the upside. Easy peasy. Gave it for the energy and for the technique. There's energy and technique. Thank you, Easy peasy, for that. We are out of half of that right now. Nice move there for Warner Brothers. We'll take it, man. Wait till this stock actually gets Main Street. We got it early with the Dara. We'll see this hit the news sources and then see what winds up happening. But right now, we hit the buy key, and we are now at the highest spot we've been at all day. There it goes. Thank you so much, Adara. There goes Warner Brothers, and we're going to hit this button.
Thank you very much, Adara.
Thank you, Adara. I barely heard that, but I do know it did happen. Thank you, Adara. Big time trading right there on Warner Brothers. Goes immediately to the top of the board. Warner Brothers on a big trade.
And by the way, that actually did already get to 29.5. So it has made this high. It's also about the why. Like, how quick can you process that it goes in and pulls back into the prior high? I would still say if there is no higher bid, I'm still of the mind that anywhere close to the $30 level still should be faded as long as Paramount does not come out with a higher bid, because the all cash should mean that it's still $27.75, because the actual value of the first bid, Netflix's bid, was implicitly $27.75. If they haven't changed that, I still think you want to be looking for some turnarounds at 29. Maybe not today, but this might be scalpable tomorrow, because the last time you've been able to short the 29 at will on this stock, and that might still be true. So I'm out of almost all of it. I'm out of 75%, but I'm just going to jump out if we lose like 28.6, like the entry price in here, because it already made the move. Like, it's a secondary bounce that got played, pull back into prior high. That's one of those ideas, technically speaking, that just sort of sets up well. When you fill that gap back in, does it bounce off that prior high? But say the pressure is 100% on Paramount here to see if they raise their bid.
Yeah, what a move, man. That was absolutely awesome. You never know, man, where the bread is going to get buttered. And there it goes, man. Thank you, Warner Brothers, and thank you, Netflix, for that one. We just paid for some subscription months right there. So, yeah, we're rolling out. We will roll Netflix for free for a minute off this move. But there it goes, man. 89, basically $90. We start the story at $89.80 for Netflix. It rips up to $91 there for NFLX. And there it goes again. So we'll have to wait to see what winds up happening here with Netflix, and on, just on a little bit of a longer scale right here, 91, 91.20, 91.40 or so there for NFLX. Yes, sir. Good trade there. We're getting more and more out, like on those moves, right? 70s, 80s. We got a lot right there when it went to the upside, hence the energy and the passion. So we're going to get some more out on that. I just took some 66s there. Again, we got a lot of shares. So they are considering this as an all-cash bid. So we'll see if that does hit right there. Netflix amending their bid to make it all cash, according to Bloomberg. So we will hit that. And Bloomberg's been reported some crazy things before. Here it is right here. So boom, Fabian creates this. We use it. There it is right there, amending the Warner Brothers bid to make it potentially all cash. They may not need to do that, but that looks like what they are going to wind up doing. So we shout out Warner Brothers and Netflix.
It had a very it was one of the more complex cash and shares, because it was like it's a ratio of percentage of Netflix share price if Netflix is within this brand, and if the price is within this band, then it's a dollar amount of shares that you get. I'm like, who that? I've never heard of a deal structured that way. So they're just simplifying things. But the fact that what I like about this is actually a power move by Netflix. Their response is, we're not actually going to give more. We're just going to give a more simply structured deal. We're not raising the bid. Like, that's the thing to keep in mind. And on top of that, they're not going with shares either. And look, they're making money, so I think this is something that they can be able to do. So I do like this for Netflix. We should have actually also gone over to show you Netflix. Obviously, volume is going to be increasing here on Netflix. 2 minutes till the imbalances, by the way. Netflix to the upside. So I think you know, I agree with this. I do think that this reaction is a signal that their response is we don't have to raise the bid. And I think that was some of the fear that Netflix would actually raise the value of their bid. I think that's a very good sign. Hopefully the bottom is in on Netflix. Who picked them yesterday?
Ramin. But I picked them.
Timing is pretty good.
Yeah, I picked them in real life. We've been buying this dip in Netflix, so hopefully it can hold. I don't know if it will. I am offering right now 75s, so we'll see if it can print up here 28.75. But yeah, definitely right there. Warner Brothers Discovery, man, just rocketing to the top of the leaderboard here on Trader TV Live. Give me those 75. Oh, we got the 75s. Okay, Siren's up, Adara. Thanks for that call out. That was awesome. What do you got for us now?
Right now I have Amazon, Sean, not really moving the same way at all, but AMZN reportedly pushing suppliers for cuts ahead of the Supreme Court tariff ruling, which could be as early as tomorrow as far as I'm seeing. Apparently, Amazon sought discounts from suppliers ranging from low single digits to as high as 30%. So basically, long story short, ahead of this potential ruling here on tariffs, again, that could be as early as tomorrow, Amazon trying to get discounts from its suppliers, reported by the Financial Times. Back to you.
And with 30 seconds to go before the imbalances, BAC actually just popped up here out of nowhere. 3.3 million to the buy side. That's an early look. Ford sell of 1.4 million. Kenvue, who cares? And NCLH is still there at 2.4 million shares to the buy side. We'll see what they come out as in about 10 seconds or so. And yeah, you have to, I think you almost got to like this for Netflix. It's hard not to. I might have to amend. I was trying to buy again. I already bought once, but I'm looking to buy again at 83. That might not be able to happen after this news. We've got VSNT, 2.5 million to the sell side, and no big cap. There's Apple for 1.2 million. No Nvidia this afternoon on the locator. Looks like Apple's the only one at 1.1 million to the buy side there. Pfizer, who cares about Pfizer? Nvidia is only 850,000, so relatively small. The two biggest names on the locator. VSNT, why do I, Verisent, this feels like it was in the news recently. But yeah, small reaction there. Actually, that's all. It's like a 1% move to the downside on VSNT. That'll probably flip, is my guess. 1.9 million is not bad. Decent chunk of the volume, but not really big enough for me.
So it's a good day, man, and right into here, like 1,500 votes already. Pretty mixed board right here. I was just basically hovering around flat, and then Warner Brothers happened. So it's going to be a very good green day right here, and it just takes a couple opportunities. But I want to thank everybody for voting. 1,600 votes. So thank you so much for doing that right there. There it is, man. 0.2 more. Thank you for your insights there, Neil. Says easy peasy. Just made a little bit. So 1K. There you go, easy peasy. I mean, you're making bank. So that is a great little call out there. You and I think a lot alike. I think they're easy peasy. But thank you so much for that one. And we're very, very proud to obviously have Neil on the desk. Good insight there and analysis. So thank you, Neil, for that. But yeah, we want to thank everybody for everything here today, right? You guys helped us get to that 550. Obviously could not have done anything like that without all of you. So thank you so much for that one as well. But here goes, big shout out to Brian Shannon, of course, a good friend of mine and of the shows. And we've really come to know him quite well over the last little while. All right, so 28.79 right there for Warner Brothers. That looks like that might be the high for now as the market sort of dissects, I think is a decent word, what is about to happen here with that bid. And yeah, I'm sure we'll hear more when Netflix CEO, I think they're co-CEOs right now, because it's not Reed Hastings anymore, I don't believe, Adara. There's somebody else. I believe Greg Peters and Ted Sarandos. Right, Ted Sarandos, that's it. So they now have, there's two CEOs over there, and yeah, no more Reed.
Other guy is Greg Peters, just confirmed. So yeah, Greg Peters, Ted Sarandos.
All right.
The other thing to consider is if WBD already considered Netflix, they said this to be the superior bid. So like Skydance, the pressure's on you. Because it was a cheaper bid. It was like 83 versus like 109 or something like that, $1 billion or whatever it was at least 25%.
Oh, Warner Brothers.
So in terms of actual like dollar value, and they didn't raise it here, so they probably still like it. I want to hear what Ellison's got to say about it. This is not the Ellison of old. I'm just going to punch out flat on
There's nothing he can say about it because they're not accepting their offer.
The Ellison of old, and if you remember way back in the day when they were, I mean, you know, they were the done data. If they wanted a company, if Larry Ellison wanted a company, they were always winning the bid. Back when I started trading, that was like one of those rules. You didn't have to worry about any bidding wars. It would just be solid. In this particular case, they have held the line, and there hasn't been any of that. So I think. We'll see what happens.
These companies are so much money involved now.
They got lots of
but we'll see what that cash offer comes out to. Like, we don't even know. They're just saying considering raising it right now.
The assumption is that if you're turning it into an all-cash deal,
go.
Prior value, which was $27.75, which was cash in stock at $27.75 was the original offer, and it was mostly cash. My guess is it should just be that same number. If it ends up being higher, maybe Netflix pulls back a bit. But the way Netflix reacted, I would assume it's still just $27.75.
We are absolutely loving that story. So thank you, Adara, for that one. I mean, this is why you need to hit the subscribe button and the like button and everything. I mean, that just made easy peasy $1,000. We don't talk about our nets here, but a WBD almost went to the #1 spot for me. So there's some money made there as well. And then you never know, but thanks to Dara for that. Thanks Easy Peasy and everybody else for watching and for participating today. It was a really special day yesterday as we did our picks, and I think that went over really well. And then today we get the love for the 550. And I'm just going to get out. I'm still waiting for 29s. I have an offer up there. I mean, if it hits, it hits, but I'm at 95s. Well, I'll just put it there. I had to cancel because I got out of some shares. So I don't want to reverse into the short here, but let's see if we can just print through right now and get a little higher on this name. And I'm offering right now 95s, but so far so good here. And I just wonder what this means for Netflix. Obviously, I'm actually surprised that Netflix goes to the upside here. It looks like they're going to have to pay more, so that's never great. But what it does is maybe put an end to the saga. So we could see what winds up happening tomorrow with Netflix shares and whether or not, you know, it'll be approved by shareholders, or if this even goes through. Do they need shareholder approval for a deal like this? But there goes Netflix up to $90.50, roughly where I had bought it. I got it at $90.20 not too long ago. So we like that trade moving forward here as Netflix and Warner Brothers and Paramount just keep on getting tied up in all of this mess that is a Netflix possible buyout. Wouldn't be surprised. You know what? President Trump really hasn't said that much about this deal, so I'm not expecting.
He has said he is not a fan of Netflix winning this bid. He has said that.
Yeah, well, that's because his son-in-law.
Because obviously, for obvious.
Yeah, so
he hasn't said that he would officially block.
Right, yeah, he hasn't come out and go ahead, Adara.
I was going to say he posted something on Truth Social this weekend that is also pretty anti-Netflix. Basically, it's like some article in One America News about how Netflix is hurting the culture, and if the Netflix deal goes through, culture will be worse. So like he hasn't out and out set a position, but his position, as you guys said, heavily implies NFLX. The most recent post though was, like I said, January 11th.
Yeah, but
okay,
would he try to weaponize the government to block the deal? I think he'd be hard.
Weaponizing the government? Nah, that's not something he does at all.
It's not impossible.
No, that's not something he does. Just ask Jerome Powell if he does that or not. But okay.
I mean but if the shareholders end up liking the deal, it'd be like, you know, you're then going against the wishes of the shareholders. If they end up liking this deal, we'll see. There's still a long way before this thing closes. A long way.
Yeah. We'll figure out what's going on right into there with only 3 minutes left. All right, so I'm just hitting keys here because we're trying to get our offers out. If Warner Brothers, it doesn't look like we're going to get. Well, we could. I don't know. I'm sitting there at 95. Maybe we do get a little bit of a bump up. Let me take an 87 or so fill right now, and if we get it, then great. We'll take that. There it is. So we do get an 87 fill there on. Sometimes I use these C's. Oh, you just missed it anyways. Too many shares going through right now. You can see there's a lot of dark pool prints. Like most of these prints are actually in between the levels right now, 86 and 87, which is why you see a lot of blue on here. Anything off the ask will be green. Anything off the bid will be red. Look at all the in-between trades that are currently happening right now on this platform. on trading with Warner Brothers, right? And so there's so much routing and so many like Citadel dark pools going everywhere. Right now, the high frequency traders really got a hold of this one. Like you can't even, look, it doesn't even want to break 87 there, and then it just prints more midpoints as more and more traders battle for those key little pips in between here. So there goes Warner Brothers up to 87 with only 2 minutes left. Man, that was a good one there. We definitely put up some numbers with that. So we want to thank Easy Peasy and everybody else for all of their super chats today and the kindness that continues on our stream. We're back tomorrow. Okay, it looks it looks like it wants to go down
It just broke a bit
right
of
now.
trend
So
here.
we'll get some more out at 85, and then we'll see where it goes from there. But only a minute 30 left.
Yeah, only a minute 30 left. There weren't any
out.
big imbalances to really turn around, but you know, overall, nothing's going to stick around over that million except for a couple of ETFs. A bit of a trend break on WBD. He's probably going to do a boatload of shares tomorrow. No questions asked. Oh, almost missed this one. SoFi, right back to the high of day, up 2 points. SoFi got waxed almost all morning long. SoFi was waxed and catches a bid, and this is because of JP Morgan, presumably. I mean, I don't know, probably because of JP Morgan, but going to end up closing a little bit strong. So that 26 continues to hold on SoFi. This is one certainly to watch tomorrow. But remember, we just started with the banks. There's still more to go. We're going to have Citi, we're going to have Wells. The entire crew still has to report, and maybe they will do a little bit better than JP Morgan. That being said, if JP Morgan's numbers got sold, it'd be hard-pressed to see any of the other banks have a better reaction because, I mean, they blew it out of the water. They beat top and bottom, and the guidance was good, and it sold anyways. I would suspect you might see a little bit more of that as we round out the week.
Yeah, banks tomorrow morning, Bank of America. We got Goldman Sachs coming through. We got Wells Fargo. It's going to be another good one. All right, man, with only 15 seconds left, here we go. We want to thank 3D Capital for supporting the show one more time there. We only have 10 seconds left. Go check them out and scan that QR code right now. 3, 2, and 1. The Nasdaq will go out down 0.2 right there. Warner Brothers looks like it closes in and around 90s right there. So I actually took that 84 out. Was a great one there. Great story. That hit, man. We got it pretty good. We got 54s or 55s there. Was a great level to get. Got it pretty good. And yeah, nice movement there. Another reason, obviously, to be part of the crew here. Should be a good one. Looking back at JP Morgan, as Neil just mentioned, yeah, down 4% to end the day. Not good. Closing near and at the lows. Down goes JP Morgan. But for today, it's the Nasdaq down 0.13. It is the ES down 0.19. And yeah, that's that. So should be another very, very exciting day here tomorrow as it was today. Many more names. Make sure you do sign up to get our watch list, right? Every single day. You can go grab the link in the description and make sure you grab that and post it. Up tomorrow, post your trades, what trades you like. Adair does a great job of that watch list. Neil and I both obviously post. I post a sticky note. Neil posts a morning little ramble thing there on Twitter. You guys can go check that out. And then we have Sharif's morning note for everybody that is a subscriber for an amazing $5 a day. You get 13 pages or so worth of information every single morning. So that would be something to definitely consider, as well as Warner Brothers here now at $29. We'll see what winds up happening tomorrow.
I was just like, chart just crashed, and I'm going to try and bring it up because didn't notice this, but Apple,
yeah,
with a green close there, like right at the end of the day for AAPL.
Let's see.
Load, yeah, you have your chart?
Yeah, 261. Yeah, nice move there for Apple. I mean, following maybe Google today, nice move higher there into the close.
That's a good close. Yeah, good close there for Apple. It has been on the, like, some of the mags haven't been in the penalty box. Maybe there's a little bit of a turn happening for Apple. We do like them. They do need to have some kind of a change in sentiment, however, because the daily chart's been a little bit different. Reminder to everybody, we're sending all those good wishes to Joe. We're going to have Obie in because Joe's going under the knife. So, of course, he's going to recover just fine from that ACL and come back better than ever. But we'll have Joe replaced by Obie, and then it'll be all day Obie on Thursday. I think it's another one where he's doing a double duty because I'll be off on Thursday. But we'll be right back at it at 8. Thank you guys for getting us to the 550,000 subscribers today. We truly appreciate it. We have a fantastic community. And I say we because that's what it's all about. at the end of the day. So appreciate you guys so much. Thank you to Brian for stepping on through. Fantastic guest. You guys had lots of fantastic questions for him.
Yes,
and
sir.
hopefully we got to as many topics as we could that you guys enjoyed, because that's what we try to do around here. And thank you, Easy Peasy, for all the kind words and super chats. It's not always about that, but it is about getting your rest and getting locked and loaded and ready for tomorrow morning, bright at 8 a.m. We're Trading TV Live, and we'll see you tomorrow.
See you guys.
Peace.